Welcome to partialarc.com. Don't do that.
I'm here to save the day. I'm here to save the day.
Soon I will be invincible. Because comics. Welcome to Because Comics. This is episode 44. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and I'm joined by my co-host, the stargazing Mike Christensen.
Oh, that one's Orion's belt.
Oh, it is.
That's the only constellation I can ever find.
That's the only one you can find Orion's belt. I cannot name stars to save my life.
Oh, yeah.
Which luckily I've never been called on to do, which is...
Well, you put me, Johnny, on the spot there.
I did.
But, yeah, Orion's belt...
Which means I can put this away, so I'll just...
Yeah, just put that gun away.
Yeah, sorry about that. I gotta know, what is your sign?
Aries.
Oh, very nice.
What's yours?
Mine's a Leo.
Okay, I could know.
I'm a lion
no
person.
less.
You are the god of war. We must fight.
Okay, I know so little about astrology that I would believe you.
You
if
didn't know
told me
astrology
that.
was centrally based around Colosseum-like battles?
How is that not a game?
Oh, where Aries fights Leo?
Like, it's like, oh, what's your constellation? Okay, fight with your powers of constellation. Wait, it is. It's Sailor Moon.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
I mean, kind of, right?
I start every one of these episodes trying to think, how can we talk about Sailor Moon? And finally cracked
You
that.
failed 43 times.
43 times, never got there. Now we're here finally. Guys,
From Magic 44.
sometimes when I don't finally achieve my goal of talking about Sailor Moon, we talk about comics. Every episode, we talk about our polls.
Yeah, the comics we read all the time. What are you reading?
Well, right now I'm
Just
reading...
like that nice natural transition, everybody.
But right now I'm reading Marvel's The Vision by Tom King and Gabriel Hernandez Walta. And guys, how I think this comic came into being, which is fantastic, and I will get into it. But I believe how it came into being is Tom King was walking around his house one day and he was like, man, I really want to write a story in kind of the style and vibe of Alfred Hitchcock. And then Marvel called him and they were like, hey, you have to do that Vision comic. And he was like, yeah, I'm just going to do both of those at the same time in one comic. Because this comic at its core is unsettling. I think it's like the overall, when you look at the actual picture on the front of the first issue, it's the Vision waving out the door like, hey, everybody.
Of like a suburban house.
Of a suburban house. But one thing to note is he's not standing outside of the door by himself. He's actually leaning through the door because the Vision can phase through objects.
That's right.
But he is also leaning through the door with a family that looks like him.
The Vision-y.
Yeah. 2 kids and a wife. So this issue is basically about, hey, the Vision got a family and moved to the suburbs. Let's talk about it, everybody. So first off, this run itself is not a superhero comic in any way. So if you expected him to be fighting like, I don't know, human person, I don't know who the Vision's arch nemesis is, Ultron, I guess, right? His dad?
Yeah,
I guess
probably.
but anyways, it's more or less just about like the American dream in a suburban lifestyle, but through the lens of basically HAL 9000. So,
okay.
yeah. And if anyone doesn't know HAL 9000, 2001 Space Odyssey, it's pretty weird.
It's a robot that tried to kill people. You don't need to watch that movie.
You don't need to watch
it's
the movie.
super long.
It's super
Go to
long.
YouTube, type in HAL 9000.
You'll get it.
You will get whatever clip you see, you got it.
Anyways, in this series, Vision has moved to Washington, D.C. to start a new life, and he's a liaison with the president. It's not really fully explained, but you don't really need to know about it. He works with the White House. He's not paid, but he's just kind of trying to settle down and do his own thing after whatever last crazy event that happened that killed everybody, but then didn't, and, you know.
Secret Wars?
Yeah, Secret Wars. But basically, he's not just moved into a house by himself, he's moved in with his family. And his family isn't like, I found them, or Ultron made more. He made copies of himself. So it's kind of hinted at that his wife is the brainwave copy of someone, but it's not really certain.
That's very much in the keeping of anyone in Vision's family tree. There are always copies of someone that we don't know about.
Because as we talked about in a previous episode, Vision is actually a copy of Wonder Man,
yes,
right?
and
in so many ways.
Jocasta, who is, I think, created by Ultron to be his bride, is modeled after the Wasp.
Interesting. We've got Virginia, who's his new wife. His son...
Is her last name Vision?
I guess, because they don't really give them last names. It's just basically the Visions. And then you've got Viv is his daughter and Vin is his son. So obviously going for that whole V thing, because why not? But as you look at them, they really are, as they're drawn by Gabriel, it's very unsettling. Like the characters, they look like crash test dummies, if you remember those old commercials. And
wow, yeah, we don't see those anymore.
Yeah, we don't see those anymore. And it's not that Gabriel can't do human characters. It's actually very startling when they put human characters in juxtaposition to the Visions. Like, it's very clear that he's making them stand apart from people, and that's very much the through line of this comic, of the daughter and the son going to a school, and they like fly into the school, and everybody's like, okay, here we go.
Yeah, who tells them no?
Yeah, right.
Who tells the people who walk through walls you can't be here?
Exactly.
I know your dad was an Avenger, but like, please leave.
Yeah, please get out of here. And the comic actually, with this juxtaposition, actually kicks off in this way by introducing us to this nice couple that lives on the block. They walk up to the Vision's house, introduce themselves. They bring cookies. There's this whole conversation of like, honey, they're not going to want cookies. They're synthesoid robots or whatever. And it's very much a kind of like slice of life of like, hey, meet the neighbors. They're uncomfortable because you're all robots and stuff.
Sure.
And I mentioned at the top of this, it's unsettling because they basically, the Visions do invite them in and walk them through what is essentially a dollhouse. Because this is a home that is, you know, it's a mock-up doll home for them, but they don't need all these things. Like, sure, the kids in some ways like play video games, but there's even comments where like the wife Virginia and the Vision stand in the kitchen and debate why it's better to say these people seemed nice instead of seeming kind. There's like a whole conversation about what is more human and truthful to have that kind of response. It's just so cold and such a weird computer kind of calculation of like how humans speak to each other. But which is what really makes this comic super interesting. Like, you feel like this light pulse underneath each page of like, something's gonna go wrong at some point.
The shoe is going to drop.
Yeah.
The penny's going to drop.
And really what's also interesting is this comic is mostly narrated on almost every page by something. The narration is presented in purple caption boxes that don't seem to belong to anyone so
I'm
far.
going to go ahead and call it Ultron.
Yes, okay, perfect. We've solved it. Nobody read this comic.
Or Scarlet Witch.
Well, that's the thing.
Or Simon Williams' brother, the Wonder Man.
The narration is delivered in this robotic, matter-of-fact way that in some cases comes across as literally from like the second page frightening. And I won't spoil why, but our narrator definitely indicates that the suburban life will not be all solar rays and refracted light for the Visions and provides some terrifying foreshadowing. So guys, I guarantee you just read issue 1 of The Vision, you will be hooked. So that is The Vision by Marvel. And Mike, what is your pull for this episode?
My pull is nothing like that in any possible way. Mike Pull. Mike Pull. J Pull was Vision. Mike Pull is Boombox's Giant Days, written by John Allison and art by Lissa Treiman. And it is about 3 girls in university together. And it's just a really funny, delightful slice of life comic that like almost gets supernatural a couple times. Like the first issue seems to imply that one of the characters has a bad luck aura, but it's played the way it might be played on like an episode of How I Met Your Mother, where it's like heightened reality.
Okay.
Where it's like, oh, they believe this to be true, or the story believes it to be true.
Or it's just coincidence, but we're only shown these scenes to reaffirm this coincidence.
Exactly, but like it's, you know, in the way that you have that unreliable narrator in How I Met Your Mother. In this way, it's like, we don't know that this is for sure reality, because it's not like Scott Pilgrim, where it's like over the top, oh, this is real. People fight. People turn into coins. It's like, yeah, it's just like cartoony. Okay. And it's just like really fun and sweet. It's just these 3 girls, very different from each other. Their names are Susan, Esther, and Daisy. And they're just, I love them. I love them and all their friends. I love Esther's sort of hipstery ex-boyfriend who like everyone she hates, but he's like the nicest dude who's like super helpful and like all the time.
Do they explain why they broke up?
Yeah, I mean, there's like, you know, like anyone breaks up, they go through troubles and and it's just like you've got the people in their lives that they're dating or they have crushes on, and like issue 8 got me like really like moved by like one of the characters was dating someone who like wasn't working out for them, and like they did like a nice, cool, like ballsy, like, oh yeah, like stick it to that person. And then also there was a character who just got like really into Friday Night Lights that episode or that issue.
Really?
Like she got progressively more like she started like hanging up Texas posters and like speaking with an accent, and they had to like have an intervention and like throw out her DVDs.
That's awesome.
And that's the series.
See, it's like a really fun, like injecting, like, because I have to imagine maybe I know on many occasions many people have been like, hey, by the way, you should watch Friday Night Lights. It's such a great show. You should watch that show. So that's pretty awesome that they finally, I like it when they inject that kind of stuff into comics.
Exactly. And for this one, it makes a lot of sense because it feels like a TV show or something that you're like, even like a newspaper strip to some degree. It reminds me a lot of like something you might read in a newspaper comic, but because it's a comic book, it has a little bit more liberty to tell, like, you know, these one-off stories where like everyone gets sick and it's treated like a zombie apocalypse, but not like a zombie apocalypse like an episode of Community might do.
I was about to
But,
say, I was like, this sounds a little like Community.
But like I don't know, it just like has this very like winking tone.
So it has kind of like a How I Met Your Mother, kind of like a goofy, serialized, like, hey, here's our crew again, and here's the wacky thing they're dealing with this episode.
But it's also about people who are like, 19 and they're still figuring out who they are and they're like dating each other. And like one of the characters is like, so what's my sexuality? Like still like figuring out that big question that happens after high school.
That's interesting.
Or whatever you call it in primary. No, I don't know what they call it in England. It's not primary. It might be primary school.
Yeah, maybe.
For high school. But I mean, before university, basically.
If you live in England, let us know, because we are uneducated.
I know so many British people I could have asked before recording this
Yeah, probably.
episode.
And we could have looked it up. We could have edited this out, but I didn't. So strange.
Anyway, Giant Days. It's Boom Comics, and they're the people who do Lumberjanes, and they're the people who do
Oh, wow.
Hexed. If you like Scott Pilgrim, you should check this out. If you don't like Scott Pilgrim, I still think you should check this out because I like this, and I assume that everyone in the world feels the same way about everything that I do.
I feel the exact same way, Mike.
It causes a lot of problems.
It does. All right, guys. So those were our polls, and that'll take us into our main segment. Mike, kick things off.
Uncanny X-Men, the Draco. Oh yeah, guys, we're going there. Guys, every New Year's we like to look back at some of the comics from...
Our favorite comics?
No, some of the comics from history that have made some missteps.
Right.
So last year we talked about One More Day, where Spider-Man, we don't remember it, thanks to One More Day. No, it was where...
Thanks to devil magic?
Spider-Man sold his marriage to the devil in order to save his aunt. An almost good comic that's also really bad.
Yeah.
This is a comic from Chuck Austen, and there's a few artists on there. Its story ranges from issue 428 of Uncanny X-Men to 434.
Okay.
So the first issue is the prologue. It's by Sean Phillips, who we're fans of his art. He did the Marvel Zombies art, and he's done a lot of Ed Brubaker stuff. Philip Tan does the art for 429 to 433. It looks real bad. And
it was sad.
And he's not a bad artist. It's just it looks, for reasons that I don't think are entirely his fault, it looks real bad. And Takeshi Miyazawa does the art for 434, and it gets a little cleaner, a little more clean lines.
For that last issue.
Yeah, but
we're going to go out on a bang, guys.
We should take a minute to explain. So this is a Nightcrawler-centric story.
Ooh.
So Nightcrawler, what do you know about Nightcrawler, Jay?
Okay. I know that Nightcrawler is blue.
True.
He looks like a devil creature.
He does. He's got pointy ears and a pointed tail.
Pointed tail.
Not the right number of fingers.
In that cartoon that I love, where
He's
Wolverine...
got like yellow glowing eyes.
Yep. In the cartoon I love, where Wolverine wears brown and yellow, he speaks, I believe, in a very heavily accented German accent.
True, he's German.
Is he still German? Okay.
He's always German, yeah.
Okay,
great. His name is Kurt Wagner.
Is he also the son of Mystique? Is that still canon?
That may be, in fact, be a factor in this comic. But basically, he's also something else you didn't touch on, but it was a big factor in his character.
Oh, that he teleports?
He teleports. Also, devoutly religious.
Yes, that's right.
Strongly Catholic.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about him is he is sort of a, don't judge a book by its cover character. He looks like a demon.
Yeah.
He is, in fact, very devoutly Christian.
Yeah, he's quite literally the personification of probably that statement.
Yeah. Anyway, this is a comic that gets him super wrong. And here we go.
Alrighty then.
So, 20 years ago, in Germany, Mystique, Raven at this point, not as blue, although blue off camera.
Wait, what? Kind of blue?
She's posing as a normal person.
Okay. I thought you were like, she tinted down for some reason. I think I'm going to go kind of a baby blue today.
She's married to a baron, but she would also do things like pose like the maid and seduce a male servant, and then laugh when that servant went to go meet the real maid for an arranged rendezvous and clearly was inappropriate and got thrown out.
That's some messed up stuff.
Yeah, but also she seems to desperately want kids because she's going in for in vitro fertilization with her husband. She's also seducing anyone she can. She also swings by and visits her ex-husband, Sabretooth.
What? Sorry?
That's something that we knew by this point.
I didn't know that.
No, you didn't. But
Sabretooth, the crazy-looking Sabretooth, was somebody's husband?
Yeah, Mystique's.
That's insane.
He looked a little less crazy.
It always looks like he took way too many Alka-Seltzers in almost every image I've ever seen. Like, he is always foaming at the mouth, eyes crazy, claws out.
Anyway, she can't get pregnant. But the fertilization doctor says that she's not infertile.
Like, does the devil show up and say, hey, want a baby?
No, the fertilization doctor says you're not barren. It's just not taking. It's just not happening.
Gotcha.
Her husband does introduce her to a man named Herr Azazel, a name you might recognize from
That's right. Yeah, he's
First Class.
He's basically, so he's like the red Nightcrawler, basically, is what I remember him as.
Here, he looks human. He's got like kind of like a goatee and like slicked back European hair.
So he's got the same look without the red skin and all the
basically, yeah.
Nightcrawleriness.
He's a dapper man who rules an island off the coast of Bermuda, La Isla de Demonas.
Of course.
They slowly fall in love with each other, and at some point in their courtship, he says the words. He refers,
what does the Baron think about this?
He doesn't know.
Okay.
At some point, Herr Azazel refers to her mystique and says, "In fact, you personify the term."
Wow.
Yeah.
So he gave her the name?
Yep.
Interesting.
Also, they have sex in a church.
Okay.
And
Nice.
and he asks, when she gets naked, he asks to see her real form because he apparently knows
That
who
she's all
she
kinds of
is.
blue?
Next time we see her, she's happy and pregnant and in love. And Azazel bamfs in behind her, this time with red skin and a pointed tail. And says, "Yeah, no, I was never in love with you. I just wanted a baby by you. You gotta stick around with this Baron and raise our kid as your kid. Peace."
Wow.
And then after he leaves town, it looks real suspicious to the Baron. He's like, well...
when he births a blue devil
It
child?
hasn't happened yet. She's pregnant.
Okay.
But he's like, we were trying, and then Azazel shows up, and you guys are really friendly, and then you get pregnant, and he left. My dad wants a paternity test. I don't. But, like, my dad
But
does.
like, I think we should try.
So Mystique kills him and buries him in the middle of the night.
Whoa. The most craziest response to that situation.
Yeah, the next panel is her, like, dragging his body tied up in bed sheets.
What?
And, like, burying him. She's, like, 5 or 6 months pregnant in the middle of the night in the rain, not super far from the grounds, like digging a hole.
Whoa, that was like plan P. There was like so many options before that.
Anyway, a few months later, she gives birth and everyone freaks out because
Because it's a blue devil child?
First they think, the baby's blue, it's not getting enough oxygen. Oh no, wait, hold on, monster baby. Oh no, wait, the mom's blue too now. Uh-oh, everyone's demons. So she has to run away. She has no money or clothes or anything. She has, she can change her shape and her form.
Right.
But she's starting from scratch.
I have to imagine that isn't very difficult for Mystique to get money and things.
Yeah, but she had so much.
Right. She was married to now a buried dead Baron, but
she had so many, like, had she planned this escape, she could have left with so much.
Right.
And had a contingency plan. Instead, she runs and she drops the baby off a bridge into a ravine.
Oh.
And as the baby falls, and she just says...
Is she our main character in this story?
Only for this issue.
Okay.
Only for the Sean Phillips issue.
I was going to say, is this the... Man, this is
And the baby falls and then bamfs away before it hits the water.
Oh.
That's
the first time it bamfed. To avoid child murder.
Yeah.
Dark.
And she says, "Why couldn't you have loved me," Azazel, as she drops the baby.
That's heavy.
Issue 429 joins the present day, and Kurt Wagner, Nightcrawler, is skulking around in the hallways of the under mansion beneath X Mansion.
There's an under mansion?
The, like, weird mechanical looking...
Yeah. Where they have the danger room and all that stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff. He's naked.
Wait, what? All right, hold on.
And he's in some sort of trance.
Why is he Oh, okay.
It's the middle of the night, early morning. He's in this trance.
So I guess he sleeps naked?
I guess. And he steals the Blackbird. Their jet.
Do they have any security locks on that thing?
Yeah, he knows them. He knows all the codes.
That's true. That makes sense.
Meanwhile, some other X-Men are going through some other drama. Apparently, Iceman is turning totally to ice and didn't tell anybody.
Wait, what? He's becoming ice cubes permanently?
Like, he's like taking ice form all the time, and like it's like he can't turn it off sometimes. And, like,
no.
He looks human, but like also it's implied that like that's just a facade. I don't know. It's weird. But then Kurt flies away, and Xavier sends them to follow him to an island off the coast of Bermuda.
Oh boy.
Called La Isla del Demona.
Sorry, what was that island?
La Isla Le Demona. I don't know how things are pronounced. Charles Xavier has actually noticed several mutants converging on that point. They were trying to track a specific...
Did he notice that the island is got a terrifying name?
He noticed there's a mutant that they, I guess, met named Abyss who can open a wormhole of some kind.
Of course. Into a abyss, maybe?
That's why he has his name, I think.
Oh, okay. That sounds like those two were connected.
And they've been tracking him, and he's noticed a lot of mutants going in that direction, but their path is, like, broken. Like, it's disjointed, like they're teleporting there in little fits and starts. The team he sends includes Angel, Iceman.
The best mutant ever.
He has a sword for some reason.
Well, they had to give him something. Like, all he can do
100%
is
fair.
fly with bird wings.
Iceman.
Okay.
Havoc. Jubilee, Husk.
Now, is this pre-Vampire Jubilee?
Yes.
Okay.
Husk is Cannonball's sister, or Angel's girlfriend, I guess, at this point. They're friendly.
Okay.
I think this might have come after the story where they had sex in midair, quoting Romeo and Juliet. Or maybe it's before it.
And there's so many issues like it. I mean, how would we possibly know?
The Chuck Austen run is not beloved.
I can't tell.
And Wolverine's on the team, because of course he is.
Of course.
Havoc was actually just on that island not that long ago. An archaeologist had found evidence of an ancient civilization predating all known civilizations.
Of course.
A civilization of mutants.
Oh, is Apocalypse going to show up in this issue?
A young telepath named Carter, who's the son of the school nurse, sneaks on board after them as they leave.
Okay.
Because he's a big fan of, he likes Havoc a lot. He's really friendly with Havoc.
Cool.
He also used his psychic powers to help Havoc and his mom fall in love. Like, they shared a dream space together. They shared a mind.
Havoc and his mom.
Yeah.
That's not creepy.
It's very creepy,
It's
and many
very,
people comment on it.
Very creepy.
On the coast of Florida, there's a blue mutant who looks kind of like Nightcrawler.
Kind of.
He doesn't have a tail, but he also doesn't have a nose.
Wait, what?
And he's in this trance, and this is Abyss.
Oh.
And Nightcrawler shows up in the Blackbird and picks him up. Havoc says goodbye to his girlfriend, the school nurse. I think her name's Annie. And she's dealing with Havoc's ex, Polaris, who's this person who's maybe Magneto's daughter. She's got green hair and all the same powers as Magneto. Right now, she's going through a thing where she's mentally imbalanced and maybe a murderer. Definitely a murderer, but maybe like doesn't feel bad about it. Also, the Juggernaut asks for a jet so he can go see this little mutant boy that he's friends with in Vancouver, even though there's a restraining order on him.
Whoa.
And he argues with Xavier about how their parents beat them.
Mike, there is a lot of issues going on in this comic.
A lot of issues with people's parents going on. There's a whole big theme going on.
Did he think the writer was like, I don't think they're going to get it. I think I need to put at least 15 examples in this issue.
If I name this issue Sins of the Father, will people get it?
Not enough examples.
Let's talk about Juggernaut's abusive father. All right. And then like Xavier finally gives him a jet to go break the restraining order. I guess.
Charles Xavier!
The worst person. On the island of Demona, I'm just going to call it Isle of Demons because that's what it means.
It's what
Island
it
of
means.
Demons. On the Island of Demons, the X-Men find several weird-looking mutants holding hands around
Is this adjacent to Skull Island? Are all those islands kind of in like a nice chain, like a vacation package?
It could not surprise me.
Right.
Around a fire, a bunch of weird mutants are holding hands. In the flames, a bunch of weird people are visible, including Azazel, who we've seen.
Oh.
Except now he's wearing black leather and some weird sort of skull thing on his shoulder.
Is
and
he Skeletoring it up? Is that what's happening?
There's some Skeletor going on. He's got a big sword. Other people in the flames with him include a bald woman with her eyes sewn shut.
Oh.
A female Nightcrawler with bat wings.
What?
A human with big feathery wings.
Angel, hey!
And except he's got an eye patch.
Oh,
So
cooler Angel.
Not hard to do.
Not hard to do. Literally add anything.
And someone who looks kind of like Sabretooth or Wolverine. Like he's just like a big hairy guy.
I just love that would be in the writer's notes. And in the background, I don't know, like a big hairy guy, kind of like Wolverine or Sabretooth.
They all have names that are super dumb. I did not write any of them down. Names do not matter. 430, this issue 430, that kid Juggernaut was going to go visit. He looks like a fish. He's getting beaten up by his dad.
Oh, okay.
Which is why Juggernaut wanted to go make sure he was okay, to make sure this exact thing wasn't happening. But Juggernaut's not there yet. This kid just runs away from home because he gets beaten up by his dad because he looks like a fish. Polaris is, going through her therapy with Annie and Xavier, and she's taking a little pleasure in, poking at Annie, of making fun of her for being a mutant, or like, prodding her, and Annie's like, I'm trying to get better about that. I know I was, but like, I'm getting over it. She also seems to take delight in everyone accusing her of not valuing human life.
What?
Polaris does. She's got like this weird, like, I'm a psychopath, isn't it fun kind of thing going on.
Ugh.
And Xavier and Annie go into Polaris's mind for some answers, and the first thing she shows them is her in bed with Havoc, and Polaris is like, oh, sorry, Annie, do you mind? This is just a memory, I'm sorry. Anyway, they're gonna deal with some other stuff in a minute.
Wow.
Back on that island, though, Island of Demons, the X-Men quickly deduce that they're dealing with a dimensional rift. I don't know.
How did they deduce that?
Well, there's a whole bunch of things
Clearly, this is a dimensional rift.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of things above the fire that look kind of like parademons in like this big cyclone of like demony looking kind of people things.
That is a scene to come upon, Mike.
It is indeed. They're not sure what to do. They say if they pull Kurt away, they might hurt him. They might kill him with the trance he's in. They don't know.
They've come to this information information through guessing.
Through experience.
Sure.
This is not their first trance around a fire full of demons.
Unfortunately.
I would imagine. The archaeologist shows up. He's like, hey, did you guys lose something? He's got Carter with him. You know, that little 10-year-old boy who followed them.
Yeah.
They did not know he was there. Someone shoots an arrow into Iceman, and he's like, no, wait, it's okay, I'm okay. And then it explodes, and he shatters.
Oh, no.
Into a whole bunch of pieces. They all start taking arrows that are exploding. The mutants who are holding
They
hands...
all start taking arrows that are exploding?
Yeah, like Havoc takes an arrow. He's like, it hurts. And
Okay, I was just about to say, like, did we just explode a bunch of X-Men?
they don't all explode. Surprisingly, Wolverine doesn't. You would think that would be a perfect opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to blow somebody up, he's the one.
Anyway, all those mutants that are holding hands start melting together.
Oh, boy.
And this huge cloud of monstrous-looking things are whirling around above the fire, and the X-Men charge in, and they try to break the circle of mutants, because, like, screw it.
So an awesome X-Men Red Rover situation goes down.
Yes.
And they're like, we are going to come over there.
And then they all vanish, and there's a huge crater in the middle of the jungle.
What? Wait, all of them? Even the X-Men?
Everyone.
So just poof, all gone.
Everyone.
Oh, boy.
That's issue 430. Issue 431, we go back and we're in Polaris's mind.
Of course.
And we
can't leave that.
And we see a flashback that she finally did a blood test. She confirmed, yes, she's Magneto's daughter. You know, when she found out, she went to Genosha, which is this country that was a mutant haven ruled by Magneto. Mm-hmm. And everyone, like, seems to treat her like a princess as soon as she gets there. She figures, like, oh, he found out that I did this, and he, like, preempted me and, like, told everybody, so they treat me like royalty. And she gets there just in time for a whole bunch of Sentinels to show up and kill, like, 15 million people on Genosha.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That did happen.
And she protects herself with her powers from being hurt by them. She does not protect herself from the sounds of 15 million people dying around her.
Wow.
So she kind of explains, like, yeah, maybe if I act a little bit, you know, not myself, here's a great big reason why.
Here's the only reason I heard the deaths of millions of people around me as I cradled in fear, waiting for my death to come.
And yeah, she...
Pretty normal for a teenager.
It pretty much leaves Xavier and Annie in tears.
Understandable.
Anyway, remember those X-Men that we were hanging out with?
Yeah. The ones with the demons.
The X-Men and the mutants and the tag-along kids and the anthropologist.
Yep.
They are in a blasted desert wasteland. Angel has Bobby's severed ice head.
Oh, no.
His eyes are still moving and blinking, and his mouth is still moving, but there's no sound coming out. So they're like, well, I hope he's
not in internal pain. Just kill me.
Kurt is naked and feeling a bit modest, and Jubilee checks him out and asks why, because everyone in this comic is obsessed with sex.
Apparently.
They cut Nightcrawler's hand free from one of those dead mutants. Most of those mutants are dead.
The ones that he was comboing with into a super weird thing?
Yeah, well, their hands were fusing together, but
his hand's fine. They didn't have to cut his hand off, right?
It's kind of scarred, but, like, you know, it's Also, Abyss is alive.
Oh, good.
And this tattooed Maori guy who's from New Zealand, and his name is, I'm not even joking, Kiwi Black.
Oh, God.
He's not dark-skinned. He is
Kiwi Black?
Kiwi Black.
Alrighty, then.
Anyway, they all turn around, and oh, look, they're standing in front of a castle.
Oh, good.
That's been here the whole time that they've been having this conversation.
I never noticed this was here.
And those creepy-looking mutants that we saw, the female Nightcrawler and all those guys, are hanging around and just chilling, and Azazel's there, and he says he didn't factor in the X-Men when he summoned Kurt. Too many variables.
I didn't factor in.
Too many variables, too complex a plan. Because, that's how you want to make sure that we know that your villain's got a good plan. Just tell us it's complex.
It's a complex plan. Of course, it failed immediately.
One of the warriors, the enemy mutants, the one with angel wings and the eye patch, sees Angel and thinks that Angel is a seraphim. It's spelled wrong, but seraphim, basically.
Seraphim, yeah.
Azazel tries to convince them, like, no, this dude's 30 years old. It's fine. He's not an angel. He's just a dude. But then Angel offers also to use his healing blood on Nightcrawler's hand.
What?
Because that's a thing that apparently he can do.
He has healing blood?
But it actually, instead, it burns Nightcrawler's hand. This is further proof to the underlings. And that blue lady, the blue Nightcrawler with bat wings, attacks Angel. And then everyone starts fighting. We cut back to Canada. That fish kid's getting bullied by kids. And then he just beats the tar out of his bully.
Wow.
Just beats the stuffing out of him.
Well, the proportionate power to a fish is far superior than other children.
And he identifies himself during the fight. He's like, I'm the Juggernaut. It's like he's got this weird hero worship thing going on.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's an idol you want.
You don't want to do that.
Speaking of the Juggernaut, he's on a jet being flown by North Star, who's a Canadian mutant, and Juggernaut's being a little homophobic about North Star.
Oh.
Because, that's how you want to represent your minorities. Have them be really defensive.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is not the storyline where someone casually mentions the mutants can't get AIDS, but this is the same writer.
What?
Just putting that out there
What?
for the ether.
God.
Anyway, back with those X-Men. Husk defends Angel. The fight's a big free-for-all. Abyss has this power. He can like open a portal in his chest and it sucks everything up. Mm-hmm. But he opens it up and things start pouring out instead.
What things, Mike? What things start pouring out?
A skateboard. His skateboard from home.
Okay. By the way, we're in a like demon battle royale outside of a castle in a desert. A skateboard?
And the neighbor's dog.
What?
And Mystique. Mystique just pops out of Abyss's chest.
That's a weird SAT question. All right, complete the order. Skateboard. Dog. What's the third one? Baseball glove. No, Mystique, kid.
Super
you failed. You're in high school forever.
That's the end of the issue.
What?
Issue 432, the fight is still going on.
What a cliffhanger to leave it on.
I know. Azazel keeps shouting for everyone to stop. He's been shouting it ever since the fight broke out. No one stops until he shoots them all with lightning.
Wait, what?
I don't know.
He has lightning powers?
Apparently.
Okay.
He keeps the winged servant from killing Angel, and he explains, he's exhausted from trying to keep that portal open, and now it's closed, and he needs to recover. But once he has...
I should tell everyone my weakness and the things that I'm struggling with. These are all my enemies, by the way.
Hey, everybody, I just want you all to be aware I'm vulnerable right now.
I'm vulnerable. Oof.
Once he's recovered, he wants some of them brought to his dining hall. Wolverine, Nightcrawler, Abyss, the archaeologist, who again has a name, and I could not be bothered to care what it is.
The archaeologist, sure.
Mystique.
Maybe it's Henry.
And Kiwi Black.
Okay.
All the others get thrown in the dungeons.
Great.
Cool.
I don't have to worry about these characters anymore, and neither do you.
Juggernaut shows up at Sammy's parents' house in Vancouver. As soon as he knocks on the door and they open the door, the mom freaks out because, hey...
Oh, it's because of the Juggernaut?
Yeah, it's a restraining order. He's not in costume, but, still.
Oh, I thought he was in his giant costume.
No,
which is, terrifying.
He is still terrifying.
Yeah, he's a massive person.
And he's also completely unmistakable.
Yeah. I mean, he's like a 10-foot tall wall.
Yeah.
Like, he's huge.
The mom freaks out and she runs and she picks up this little silver box and presses a button on it.
Uh-oh.
And North Star apparently didn't know there was the restraining order in place. This is all new information for him.
He probably would have not flown him there.
I feel like he feels like that is the case. Sammy shows up, the fish boy. He's all beat to hell from the dad, but also from the neighborhood kids. And Juggernaut goes ballistic.
Oh, boy.
We'll cut back to him in a minute. Back in Azazel's court, he chides them for messing up a very long gestating plan. He also establishes that he is Kurt's father, as well as the father of Abyss and Kiwi Black.
What surprise!
He says the bald girl with the eyes sewn shut is a telepath. She did that to herself so that she could hone her powers. No one lies in his court. So that's how we okay, everything I tell you is canon, and we know that because there's a telepath here telling you whether or not I'm lying.
Oh, God.
Anyway, he confirms canonically that yes, the rumors are true. We've been hinting at it for years. Mystique is Kurt's mother, though also she dropped you off a cliff, and so maybe you don't really get to call her that. Don't worry about whether she has parental rights.
Whoa.
Kurt would have died, but Azazel was nearby and placed Kurt with his stepmother, who was a friend of Azazel's. And Kurt says, well, she always told me that I washed up on a riverbed. And he's like, yeah, well, she would have, because she was living with gypsies at the time. They would have freaked out had they known who I really was. Angel keeps asking who the hell Azazel is. Yeah. And every time he asks, Azazel says, well, that's an appropriate question. Both times he says, who the hell? Because he says,
oh, gosh.
I am Azazel, Semehaza, Duma, Cariel, Mastmela, Belair, Gabriel, Beelzebub, and most commonly called Satan.
Oh, my God.
The devil's back in one of our New Year's episodes.
Back. Oh, I jokingly called it at the top of the episode that the devil would give Mystique a son.
Yeah, it happened.
What?
That's the story. This comic is about the devil giving Mystique a son.
What?
You know how his whole thing is that he's not really a demon, but he looks like a demon?
But he looks like a demon, but he is a demon.
Yeah, anyway.
What?
The archaeologist says he doesn't want to...
He's Hellboy? He's Hellboy? No. That just, everything that's interesting about this character and makes him kind of different. He's a demon now.
Broken.
Oh my God.
We'll talk about that in a minute. The archaeologist says he doesn't believe Azazel, but the bald girl says he's lying. He doesn't want to believe Azazel, but he does believe Azazel because of the evidence he found recently.
And they have a telepath in the room, guys.
She's the one saying it, so
right.
The archaeologist calls them both liars, and that winged dude cuts him apart.
Wait, cuts up the archaeologist?
Yeah, just slices him into tiny little pieces.
Henry, no.
Probably Henry, no. Azazel asks that no one else call him a liar in his own house. It's poor form.
I really don't think he needed to say that after somebody did that.
He wanted to drive the point home.
Oh, boy.
Back in Vancouver, Juggernaut breaks Sammy's father's arm and throws him out the window and practically kills him.
Oh, good.
But then the Canadian superhero team Alpha Flight shows up.
Hey!
Because that's who Sammy's mom called.
Isn't one of them a bear?
Not right now.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, 433 opens with the mansion. Xavier and Annie are recovering from Polaris's memories full of
Terrible
awfulness.
things. Terrible things.
And then someone comes in and is like, hey, Carter's been absent all day. So, like, where's Carter? And cut to Carter in a dungeon full of skeletons with Jubilee, Husk, Havoc, and Iceman's head. Carter is telepathically relaying messages from Iceman. It says Iceman doesn't have enough water in the air to form a new body because it's just super dry.
Also, he's just a head.
Well, if there was enough water in the air, he could form a new body.
Oh, really?
Yeah, apparently.
Does that mean Iceman,
He's all...
according to this issue, could be like Sandman, basically?
Yeah.
Okay.
He also says that Iceman is thinking dirty thoughts at Havoc because he stole Polaris from Iceman.
How many pages did we go before they mentioned something to do with sex?
Not very many.
Okay.
Then he stole Annie from Iceman, leaving Polaris in the dust. Havoc offers to give Iceman a whole bunch of water to make a new body. He had a lot to drink before he got on the plane.
Oh, boy.
I don't like this comic.
Yeah.
In Vancouver, Juggernaut fights Alpha Flight, and North Star tells Sammy, get your mom to safety. Look after the barely breathing remains of your father.
God.
Sammy tries to convince North Star that Juggernaut won't hurt him or his mom. And North Star's like, yeah, that's nice. Please get to safety.
Yeah, he almost killed your father, so...
Then a whole bunch of debris drops on Sammy's mom and, kills her.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yes.
That's horrible.
Yes.
Wow.
Meanwhile, back in hell,
Because that's where we weren't.
Azazel claims...
Have they just now, did they cut back to the scene and, there's Latveria? Does it, quite literally, hell?
I think it says Azazel's dimension.
Subtlety is gone. Hell now.
It is, but I think they still call it Azazel's dimension.
Sure.
Azazel claims Earth was his until it was stolen from him. He also seems to imply that he's not actually Satan. He uses the whole, Arthur C. Clarke quote. He knows who Arthur C. Clarke is. Any advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic to, that one.
Okay, so now he's an alien Satan.
So Nightcrawler is saying, they were asking, so you said you're the devil, but now you're not the devil? What are you saying? And Nightcrawler...
I thought there was no lies in your court, Azazel.
Nightcrawler puts it together. Azazel is a mutant from biblical times.
All right.
Azazel
All
talks about how if you look at the Earth from space, the cities look like diseased dead spots.
Sure.
And humanity is a cancer. Like Agent Smith said in that pretty good movie from 4 years ago.
Yeah.
The Matrix just came out. It's pretty good, you guys. You should check it out.
Jeez.
But if you haven't heard of it, he's just going to rip off that storyline. Azazel says, I challenged God, quote, by imposing rule and dominion and enslaving or removing the toxicity of humans. By those acts, I fell from grace and was cast out of the kingdom of heaven, the remains of the archaeological dig site you call blah, 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 island of demons.
Yeah.
Cast out by angels, quote unquote, another group of mutated humans. That advanced society that we were talking about.
Yeah.
Into this dead, desolate, burning dimension so far from my own world, apart from all worlds. He was hoping to use some of that archaeologist research to find a way back to Earth, which is why he wanted that archaeologist alive. Thanks, winged eye patch guy. He asks Angel about his own lineage, but Angel doesn't know. So Azazel's like, all right, fine, I'll just
Are we hinting
kill you.
that he is now an angel?
We're hinting that
descendant?
he's a descendant of those people, yeah.
Oh,
that's the
jeez.
implication. They also decide to cut up Wolverine and enjoy torturing him for a good long time. Azazel says, make it last. You might get bored. This is to the big Wolverine-looking dude.
Yeah.
You might get bored over the next 20 years or so if Azazel needs to go birthing a new batch of kids with the powers to open the interdimensional gateway.
Oh, because I guess they can't get to that dimension without
They can't
teleporting?
They can't leave the dimension without teleporters to open the portal. Although Azazel's been able to.
Yeah.
Because he had a whole bunch of kids.
Yeah.
He also says birthed a whole bunch of kids. And look, Azazel, you did nothing to contribute to the birth process. Azazel goes to the roof and meets with his kids, Nightcrawler, Abyss, and Kiwi Black. No one else is there, just the four of them.
Sure.
Family time. Kiwi Black doesn't play ball, doesn't want to participate, doesn't say anything, so he gets sent down to the dungeons too. This is when the guards leave, actually. They drag him away. Azazel asks Nightcrawler and Abyss if they can open the portal together. And we actually look up in the sky and they can see pockets of our reality through it. And it's like, oh yeah, this is the dimension that you pass through when you teleport, Kurt. This is where you go.
This is the hell dimension.
You go
Literally
through
hell.
And Kurt's like, oh yeah, brimstone, I smell it. Yeah, the sulfur. Yeah, this is where I go. It's very familiar.
What?
So because all his kids are linked to this dimension, they can work together and open the portal.
Oh, good. This is like a family story.
It's like a family story. Kurt says he's trying to teleport, but his body feels like it's already where it wants to go. You know, and Azazel's like, yep, I know the feeling. I've had that feeling for a long time.
So wait, so we're basically saying that, like, since they're in the, like, every time he teleports, his body is just trying to get here, but he's like,
Well, like-
no, I want to keep going, though.
Well, like, right now he's trying to teleport, but your body's like, yeah, you're here. You're where you go when you teleport. I don't know what you were trying to do.
Yeah.
Xavier, Annie, and Polaris show up at the Island of Demons, and Polaris uses her magnetic powers to open a dimensional tear and make it wider. I don't know.
Sure.
The portal opens in Abyss's torso, because that's how his powers work.
What?
They show up in his torso.
Oh, that's right. That's where the skateboard and the puppy and Mystique came out of.
Yeah. Anyway, look at that. Portal's open.
We did it.
Great. So the final issue of the story opens
Is
with...
that the cliffhanger of the
yes,
comic?
yeah, it's, oh shoot, like...
Man, we've had 2 torso-centered cliffhangers.
Yeah.
Ah.
Well, if you got that hook, if you got that gimmick...
you gotta use it twice. That thing's a gem.
leaving money on the table. Azazel lunges for the portal, but Kurt teleports over to Abyss. Turns out he was lying because he left that no-eyed girl downstairs, sucker. He doesn't say that, but I really wish he did. It would be no dumber than anything else in this comic.
Oh, yeah.
And he teleports away with Abyss into the castle. Back in Vancouver, Juggernaut finds out that Sammy's mom is dead and just stops fighting and lets Alpha Flight beat him up for a while. And
Obviously.
they realize he's not putting up a fight, so they're like, all right, cool. He's
We'll
under
take
arrest.
you to Canada jail now.
Canada jail. Inside the castle, that blind girl got knocked out by Kiwi Black.
Oh, good.
And Azazel
Why?
Azazel like, hey, what happened? And she's like, yeah, apparently he had another power we didn't know about. He can shield his mind from our mind reading, I guess. Kiwi Black sneaks into Angel's cell, where he's being tortured by that guy with wings, and Kiwi Black just murders him.
Whoa.
Yeah. The eyeless girl goes to the dungeon to kill those other X-Men. They attack her. At one point, they smash her head, and it falls off, and a new one grows real quick.
Okay.
And then Iceman drains all the moisture from her body and makes a new body out of it.
What?
Yeah.
Mike, are you telling me Iceman used the murder water that he drained from this girl
Yes.
and made his new body that he walks around in out of the moisture from the woman he just killed?
And then he says, like, hope you like the new body. I'll put it to better use than she did. Or something like, I found some moisture. I'll put it to better use than she did. Something like that.
That's
Oh, yeah. Everyone in this comic is a sociopath.
crazy.
Everyone in this comic
That's
is
crazy.
insane assholes.
Like, how does he not sit around and go like, oh, this arm was from that girl I murdered?
I hope he goes and gets new water when he goes home. Wow. I bet you he doesn't for a while.
Probably doesn't. He probably forgot.
Anyway, Nightcrawler and Abyss sneak through the castle. Polaris pokes her head through Abyss's torso to, like, talk to them and look at them. Like, literally pokes her head out.
Hey!
And she makes fun of his power. And he mentions, like, oh yeah, my power gets really bad when the portal gets wider and everything starts flying in. She's like, there's an idea. She opens it wider, and, like, the castle starts crumbling and pulling
Sucking through his torso?
Yep. This frees Wolverine. Like, his arm gets free because of, like, the whatever.
Sure.
Whatever. He kills that dude. The X-Men return to Earth. Annie kisses Iceman right in front of Havoc. It's super awkward.
Oh, great.
You know, that emotional relationship that we were all really invested in.
Yeah, we were. I mean, the whole comic, I was waiting for that to come back, and glad that paid off.
Yeah, on the roof of that collapsing castle, Nightcrawler and Azazel sword fight.
Of course they do.
It's actually kind of cool. I mean, one of them's red, one of them's blue, and
They both have swords?
the red one is their father of the blue one, and he's saying, like, hey, come with me and join me, and we'll rule together.
Oh, God.
Yeah, Kurt says Azazel isn't his father, just a Lothario with regrets. And he says, I'm not going to do the German accent. It saddens me to know I share genetics with a man whose heart is so black that he sees no other options, sees no possibility for either love or compassion. And Azazel asks, how could I have birthed the son who looks like me? You didn't birth him. How could I have birthed the son who looks like me, yet harbors the foolish notions of the angels? Then the ground crumbles beneath him and he tumbles into the void. And the implication is that he's dead. And, like, Kurt, like, sort of cries, is horrified, whatever. But, like, wouldn't being pulled into the void mean
Suck
you're going
you
to
out?
Earth?
Yeah.
But that doesn't happen.
He goes into another void?
I don't know.
Was there another hole that was happening while all this was going on?
Oh, please.
Sometimes when voids open up, they open up other voids. They go to, I don't know, Bermuda?
Anyway, yeah, that's where they were.
Oh, good.
Well, they're off.
Well, they
Bermuda.
were in Demon Bermuda.
Yeah, basically. The X-Men show up and pull Kurt through the portal. So, like, clearly they didn't see Azazel come through because they would have said something.
Right, they would have been like, oh, by the way, there's the bad guy.
Kurt gets to know his new brothers, and he tells Charles that he met the man who provided his genetic material, but my father...
Weird way to say father.
But my father has always been here whenever I needed him, Professor Xavier. With food, money, support, family, and most importantly, with love, understanding, and kindness. The foolish notions of the angels, he quotes. Thank you, Professor, for being a true father to me all these years.
Aww.
and that's the Draco. It is a comic that universally, as soon as it came out, everyone just tried to pretend it never happened. But then a couple of years ago, Jason Aaron brought back Azazel, and he's sailing pirate ships through the afterlife.
Wait, what?
It's way better.
What?
This was after Nightcrawler had died. Nightcrawler died and was in heaven.
Yeah.
And a bunch of demon pirates showed up in heaven, and a bunch of demon pirate ships were sailing around, and the X-Men got pulled through to various points.
This is Wolverine and the X-Men, right?
This is Amazing X-Men.
Oh, okay.
Same writer, but different series. And
Who they saw this issue and they're like, you have got to write Wolverine and the X-Men.
No. He started the series after working on Wolverine from the X-Men.
Gotcha.
The X-Men get pulled through, and like some of them are in heaven, some of them are in purgatory, some of them are in hell, and there's demon pirate ships, and they fly, and they're captained by people like a demonic version of Jack the Ripper, or like a demonic version of Billy the Kid.
That's great.
And like, turns out Azazel as a pirate king of hell is like so much better.
So much more comic booky fun idea than being the devil.
And like, hey, you can still sword fight with your son. It's still baller.
Oh yeah.
Like,
and now you're actually a pirate, so there's a little bit more validation to it.
Well, he was in a castle. Like, they have swords too. And that's something I like to do with these. You know, we like to talk about, did people reclaim this character? Because like, Nightcrawler was broken after this story. It's a broken character. You've broken the premise of this character.
Yeah,
like,
that's true. When you've basically taken out, like, look, he looks like a demon, but he's not. He's actually this. But then when you're actually like, oh, no, he is a demon. It's like, what have you done?
Then like, every time we look at him, like, and that is hanging over their head. It's sort of like, there's a Ms. Marvel comic that we'll probably talk about in a year or two around New Year's, that like, anytime someone tried to do anything with that character, it's like, well, are you going to address this? And it's like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it happened. Yeah, but I really don't want to talk about that, though. Like, I really don't want to talk about that thing. And the only way Ms. Marvel got better was when people just stopped talking about that thing and moved on.
Yeah.
In this case, though, the only way they could solve the Nightcrawler issue was they killed him, and then he came back and, like, sword fought with his demon dad. And, like, okay, cool. Like, if you're going to have a demon dad, like, just go for it.
Yeah, just, like, lean into it all the way.
Like, don't have this guy trying to reclaim Earth. Like, he no longer cares about Earth. He wants to take over the afterlife.
Yeah.
Because, like, hey, if you just sit there, like, you have new subjects coming in by the day.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like way better.
I hope you guys enjoyed that New Year's main segment, and that'll take us to our game, Would You Rather? All right, this is our game, Would You Rather? This is the game where we take the common game of Would You Rather and inject comics into it.
Yeah.
So, Mike, would you rather get an apartment in Marvel's New York City or Marvel's Hell's Kitchen?
Ooh.
Tough.
Oh, wow.
A lot of pros and cons in each.
Okay.
So, like, if we're looking at property, right, and money's not essentially on the table in this.
Yeah.
Obviously, the view is going to be nicer in Marvel's New York City.
Yes.
But
all these superheroes live there, and all the supervillains invade there.
And it's been blown up maybe all the time, always?
All the time, always.
Now, you know, the only time Hell's Kitchen really, like, globally has been almost kind of destroyed, I guess you would say, is, like, Shadowland when that happened. When Daredevil was like, a demon sort of bad guy. Anyways.
I think, honestly, Hell's Kitchen's probably safer. Like, because
strangely.
Look, like, if you have apartment space next to Nelson and Murdoch, then you're hosed.
Yeah.
Because, like,
their walls are going to explode a lot.
Stiltman's gonna break in, or like whatever.
Which is kind of a plus. Would love to see Stiltman do anything.
But then also, like, the Kingpin's gonna blow it up.
Yeah, it's true.
Or whatever. Honestly, like,
you're gonna see a bunch of ninjas, though, which is
a lot of ninjas. Well, if you can see them, they're doing it wrong.
Well, I don't know. A lot of them are dressed in bright red, but
yeah, but they're so fast.
Yeah, I guess so.
And they camouflage themselves in like the brick of the buildings, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
And they look like Daredevil. Whatever. Point is, like, the fights in Daredevil don't really hit street level people.
Right.
They don't really hit civilians. The crime does in a big way.
That's the thing. Like, it's a different type of danger, right?
Yeah.
It's more of like a creeping danger in Hell's Kitchen. It's kind of like wearing you down. Because here's the thing. We've spent a little time in Hell's Kitchen here. If we look at Marvel's New York City, like I mentioned before, if money wasn't on the table, but honestly, I can't imagine most of Marvel's New York City being expensive because people have got to be like, please live here. Nobody will live here.
At some point, in a comic that came out after World War Hulk, in an issue of Damage Control, somebody, I think it was Tony Stark, said that the New York City has been declared a state of emergency and never undeclared.
And never gotten out of it. They're always in red. Always DEFCON 1.
So,
I mean, look, your life, if you live will be extremely exciting, I like to think, if you're living in Marvel's New York City, right? You could become a spider person on a spider island.
Oh yeah, that did happen.
That happened.
To everyone in the city.
Yeah.
To be fair, Hell's Kitchen isn't so far away, so like if something like Secret Invasion happens, like it's there and it's gonna get hit.
Exactly.
But like Central Park exploded with fire today, and like 2 giant people are fighting in the ruins of it.
Yeah.
Like that happened.
Ultron robots are here again.
Ultron robots, and like you are in the way.
Danger always.
Yeah.
I think honestly, I think the choice, in my opinion, I would probably live in Hell's Kitchen.
I agree.
Because I mean, you can always take a train or take something over to New York proper to hang out. But if you want to watch the crazy spider people on that island, you can go over and have a peek. But you can go home.
The crime in Hell's Kitchen is mostly
drug related.
It's drugs, and it's to a degree like murder and assassinations and like human trafficking. You know what I mean? There's not like so much B&E. There's enough to keep Daredevil busy, but like he's also dealing with Kingpin stuff. Like I think Hell's Kitchen
is the pick.
Weirdly safer.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, Happy New Year's, by the way. That was episode 44 Because Comics.
That's what this was.
We'll be posting a new episode every other week. If you'd like to download more episodes or check out other similar podcasts, head over to partialarc.com. That's arc with a C. And of course, you can email us any questions at becausecomics@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr, all at Partial Arc. And be sure to check out more content from our comic boy wonder, Mike Christensen, at partialarc.com, where he writes articles every Tuesday and Thursday. Thanks for listening, and remember,
when the Pirates of the Caribbean breaks down, the pirates don't eat the tourists.
That's true.
There's a funny thing about that line. My friend Chris points out that like Hammond is like really into amusement parks, and like he gets the year wrong when he says what year Disneyland opened. And he's like, oh yeah, like that's the wrong year. He would know that. And I was like, Chris, he's not us. And he goes and like makes amusement parks full of dinosaurs.
He has a lot of things on his mind.
He operates on a different level than you and I do.
Because comics.